Hi.
Oi, so they give access to their job portal, Geeks for Geeks, for free?
Yes, complimentary with the course.
And you got your job through that?
Me and 15,000 others across the world.
No way!
Oh, yes, Wiz. Don't delay. Enroll now.
Geeks learning together.
Hi, everybody, and a very good evening to you all. This is Aishwarya from Geeks for Geeks, and I'll be the host for today's webinar. So, yeah, I know that it's been a long time that I've been here in the webinars, and quite excited about today's session. And I'm quite excited to see you guys again and to talk to you guys. So, let's start with some like how have you been and what's going on. So, hey, everybody, hey, Gagan, hey, Bernard. Hey Vikas, hey Alok, hey, hello. Uh, Perfect. Hi. How are you guys doing? And hi, good evening. Good evening, Makesh. Perfect. So, guys, one more question that I just want to ask you guys that if I'm audible to you guys perfectly, and accordingly, I'll proceed with our today's webinar. And yes, I'm pretty sure, and I am, confirming this thing that yes, this is going to be a really amazing and crazy session. Yeah, cool. Good to see you. Thank you so much, Neeraj. Bonjour. Great. Perfect. So I can see that is really great to just see you guys commenting, and yes, perfect. Okay, thank you so much that I'm audible. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Shazia. Thank you so much, Prachi. Thank you. Okay. Thank you so much, Tanuj. So now that I know that I'm audible, now all the barriers have been kept aside. Now we'll start with our today's session. So our today's session is basically based on our one of our special webinars, and the topic for our today's webinar is job opportunity abroad, and we'll be talking about specifically about Barclays US. And guess what? We have somebody who is working in Barclays US, and we are so happy and glad to have him today in our webinar. His name is George Koubbe. I guess I am pronouncing your name fine, perfectly. So I'll just ask him. I'll add him to the stream and ask him that if I'm pronouncing his name correctly or not. So I'll ask George to the stream, and we'll begin with our today's session. He works as a software engineer in Barclays US. So let's add him to the stream. Hi George, how have you been?
Hi, how are you? Aishwarya,
also-
am I pronouncing your name correctly? Aishwarya?
Yeah, Yes, you're pronouncing it perfectly. And I just want to confirm that if I'm pronouncing your name right, like it's George Koubbe or what?
Yeah, George Koubbe. Yes,
Koubbe.
Koubbe.
Koubbe. Okay, yeah. I was not pronouncing it right. It was wrong. Cool. Perfect. So, George, so how are you? What's up?
Super happy, excited to be here, and ready to start my day here in the US. It's 9:30 a.m. actually. So ready to start in the best of the ways.
Yeah, it's 7-8 p.m. here. So, yeah.
Imagine.
Okay. Yeah, we are just about to end. We are on the verge of, when our Saturday is going to end now, and yours is beginning, I guess. Starting.
Absolutely, yes.
Cool. So, George, let's start our today's session, and let's start with a quick introduction about you. Our audience would love to know about you, that who George is actually. So, let's begin with your introduction. Tell us about yourself.
Absolutely. How are you guys? So I am a software engineer here at Barclays. I've been here for the past year. I'm coming actually from a hardware background. I moved to the US about 4 or 5 years ago, and I am actually an electronics engineer. So I moved to the US to pursue my education here, to do a master's degree here in electrical and computer engineering here in Rutgers, New Brunswick in New Jersey. And, in my time there, I worked in different research labs. I completed an internship. It was a really great experience. I graduated in May 2020, actually last year. And immediately after graduation, I started working. I landed a job opportunity at Barclays US here in Whippany campus in New Jersey as well. And I've been working here ever since. It's been a great experience so far, and I can't wait, to tell you all about it.
Perfect. That's great. So, moving forward, it's all about computer science, coding, and everything. So we want to know, our audience is really, it's a very curious question from our side, that how did your coding journey start, and what developed an inclination towards coding for you? So we want to hear about it.
Ooh, it's the story it goes back way a couple of years. So it all started when I was doing my bachelor's in my home country. I was born in Venezuela, South America, and it was in electronics engineering, so it was mostly hardware. But I took a few courses in computer programming, computer science. I remember I started with 2 courses. I started in C. They used to teach us C to start. And ever since, I saw my first lines of code, data structures, algorithms in C, I kind of fell in love. So I always used to say, back in university in my bachelor's, I used to say I was an electronics engineering by degree, by profession, but I was always a computer science or a computer engineer by heart. I always liked it. In every project, I was the one who was doing the coding aspect or the software aspect, while my teammates, they were doing the hardware aspect and connecting the wires and grounding and the circuits. And, so this is how it started. It wasn't until actually I decided to pursue my master's here in the US in electrical and computer engineering that I actually found the passion, my actual passion for the software aspect of my career. I found it here pursuing my master's. I took all the courses, the computer science courses in my university, artificial intelligence, data structures and algorithms, software engineering, and I actually went full 100% with it, and I'm loving it so far.
Great. That's exciting. Cool. So, now moving forward, my next question would be from you, that what are the requirements and minimum qualifications to apply for Barclays US?
Yeah, so Barclays US pretty much has these are pretty much the standard qualifications or minimum requirements you're going to find across all companies. You have to have a bachelor's degree or a master's degree in computer science or a related area. It could be computer engineering or electrical and computer engineering in my case. You should be able to, demonstrate either by projects or by work experience that you have an interest in computer and programming languages, development tools, data structures, algorithms. But of course, if you have a degree in computer science or related areas, you already showing this through the degree and your projects. And these are the actual minimum qualifications. That's all they require.
Cool. So, you joined Barclays in which year? You graduated in 2020 and you joined Barclays?
Yes.
In 2021 or 2020?
No, I joined Barclays 2020. Exactly, to be exact.
2020.
I started working at Barclays July 31st, 2020. Yeah.
Okay. So, you've completed a year, right?
Yes,
Okay.
I graduated. Yes, I started the application process started in September 2019. And the whole interview process and application process took about 2 months. So by September 2019, I was applying, and by the end of October 2019, I already had a written offer. So I graduated in May next year, and I started working July from the same year, 2020.
Perfect. So, like you've mentioned that the application process started in September 2019. So, we would love to know, and our audience would like to know about the whole procedure, from the application procedure till you got the written offer in your hand. So, let's begin with the whole interview process, the application process, everything. So, let's start with that.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm going to try to describe it as best as I remember it. The whole process consisted of it's a 4-interview process. I remember it all started by me, like from my personal experience. It started by me attending my university's career fair. Barclays had a booth there, and I had the opportunity to go one-on-one, to go in a one-on-one session with the recruiter there. At the booth, I lined up, talked to her. She liked me, and she prompted me immediately. You should go to the website, use my name as a referral, and we'll take your application from there. That's what I did. As soon as I finished with my career fair for the day, I went to the website, applied, and immediately after, I think a day after or 2 days after, I got a message from them saying, congratulations, we want to start the process with you. Please just take the online assessment. So as I mentioned, it's a 4-stage interview. The first one was an online assessment. A 1-hour coding challenge. It consists of 2 coding challenges, half-hour each. I remember it was hosted in the platform HackerRank.
Okay.
I did the coding challenge, and a few days after, I received an invitation to complete an online video interview this time. I think it was hosted in HireVue. Just filming myself, recording some video answers of how I solved the previous online assessment, or how was my approach for each question. And also asking, another behavioral questions like why I think I would be a good fit for Barclays, what motivates me, and the sort of basic behavioral questions to get a taste of why I was there. That was the second time. That was the second stage in the interview. For the third stage, it was a week after. I remember I received another email saying, congratulations, based on the online assessment and your video answers, we would like to move you to the next round. And we think you would be a great fit at Barclays. Please, we invite you to take part of the. It was this time it was like a short video survey, and where they placed me like in a simulated environment or scenario, where I get to demonstrate some my ability on decision making, critical thinking. Like they put me on a real world project. Like imagine you're managing this project, and I had to see it through from start to beginning. What would you do? This sort of question. That was the third stage in the interview, a simulated real world scenario. Then for the fourth interview, I got an email a few days later saying we would like to move to the on-site interview. Congratulations, we like you. The on-site, I remember going to the campus. That was my first and only time I've been in campus, to be completely honest with you. After the interview process, I started completely remotely, and I've been working 100% remotely ever since. The on-site on campus. First of all, the campus was amazing. I fell in love. It consists of 2 interviews, also 45 minutes each. The first one, it was more technical. He asked me about technical stuff like my programming language, the ins and outs of my programming language, some computer science concepts. Like I remember discussing virtual memory, how virtual memory works in your iPhone device, for example. I remember discussing about processes and threads. I remember talking about some object-oriented questions regarding Python. It was my language at the time. It is still my language. And that was the first interview. I did also it was actually a quick coding challenge along with these technical questions. That was the first part, 45 minutes. Then for the second part, it was more like a behavioral kind of interview, and where she also again gave me like a Barclays project that they were working on at the time. Like imagine you're working on a new, innovative project that you want to see it through. Imagine you're the manager and you're working across the globe you're managing multiple teams across the globe. Because Barclays is that company that has teams all over the place. They're based in London, but they have teams here in London, in India, and Singapore, you name it. So imagine you're managing all these teams across the globe with the multiple time zones, and you have this new project. What would you do? See it through, what decisions you would make. I remember having some design decisions, some management decisions. and some behavioral decisions from her part. So that was the second interview. I remember we were 6 people for the on-site at the time, all coming from different backgrounds and different universities. And that was my experience when it comes to the interview process at Barclays.
Okay, okay.
10
So,
days later,
what?
just
Yeah,
sorry,
please.
10 days later after that, after the on-site, I remember it was at the beginning of October, maybe 1-2 weeks after, I received the email saying, not an email, a call with the verbal offer and then the written
Okay.
offer. Yeah.
Cool. So, how would you how would you rate these every round of your interview, like from on a scale of 1 to 10, or if you'll say not 1 to 10, like it was the questions or the difficulty level was easy, moderate, or really tough, or so what was your experience about this thing, the scaling thing?
I am having a bit of a trouble hearing you. So I guess the question is, how would I rate the experience for each one of the interviews? Is that the question?
Yes, 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 yes.
Yeah. So for example, for the first part, the online assessment, as I said, it was 2 questions on HackerRank. I remember one being array-based. It was a medium. I remember being categorized as a medium, typical medium HackerRank lead code question. Medium difficulty
Okay.
regarding arrays, sorting, and all this fun stuff I remember. But the second question was a question, it was easy actually, but it was regarding recursion. About, some recursion concepts. I think it was easy, or at least it was easy for me at the time. So I would say maybe, one easy, one medium question in HackerRank. And then the second one was mostly video interviews explaining my approach and behavior questions. So that was a great experience. No difficulties there. For the third interview, also video, you have to do your homework when it comes to behavioral and when it comes to Barclays as a company. You
Okay.
have to really know and research who Barclays is, what Barclays does, their values, their principles, what they're working on, their projects, because they're going to ask you behavioral stuff. They're going to ask you a lot of, simulated scenario. So it was a bit tedious to, it was unexpected. I wasn't expecting to go in a simulated scenario. I was expecting more of a, coming from a coding background. I was like, okay, maybe they ask me a coding question or something like this. But no,
Right.
actually coding was only the first 2 questions on the online assessment and 1 quick question on the on-site round. That was coding. The rest was really business, management, communication skills. The on-site interview, though, it was really amazing. I really enjoyed, people there. They're all friendly. The campus, at least here in Whippany, New Jersey, it was an amazing campus. They're all approachable. And it was a great experience overall for the on-site. I left the campus. I remember leaving the campus wanting to work there and feeling happy, like, oh, I wish they actually come back to me. I want to make this, So
Right.
overall, it was a great interview experience. That's my only time, first and only time being on campus.
Okay, that's great, great, perfect. I am pretty sure that our audience must have jotted down various points from this particular answer that can help them in their in framing their strategies. Now, coming to the strategies, we want to really know your strategies. That how did you prepare for these rounds, and how did you prepare for your interviews when you were graduating and everything. So we would like you to just share some. Can you please share some of your preparation strategies?
Yeah, absolutely. As I said, first of all, and to start, you really have to be familiar with at least 1 programming language. That's the most. I took Python back then. You have to be familiar with it, the ins, the outs, and how to work your way through it. You also, as I said, you also need solid understanding of computer science fundamentals like operating systems, stuff like that I mentioned, like process, threads, semaphores, deadlocks, virtual memory. you have to at least have a basic understanding of computer networks. Like, imagine they ask you something like how the browser works, or describe, TCP/IP. So all this, brush up on your computer science fundamentals. But the key aspect is, as in every technical interview, have really solid understanding on data structures and algorithms. After your programming language, really be familiar with data structures and algorithms. So yeah, data structures, algorithms, OS, computer networks, object-oriented design. Brush up on all these skills, computer science skills. Yeah, just a quick mention for all of this, actually, for programming language, data structures, algorithms, the CS concepts. I think I used GeeksforGeeks. I remember they have it. They have a really wide. Yeah. I'm not promoting anything. I'm just exactly saying what I use GeeksforGeeks for all the computer science, to brush up on all the fundamentals. They have a ton of coding challenges with great solutions explained from experts. I believe they even have right now. They even have a course. It's called Complete Interview Preparation, and they include all of it. Like, just take this course and you'll have tons of coding questions and all the computer science fundamentals you need to brush up on. Everything is included in this course. So
guys,
that's
you
really
should
amazing.
enroll to that course.
Yeah. So that was for
I am pitching in between.
So that was for the technical aspect, but for the behavioral portion of the interviews, I prepared, make sure you have some answers for the most common behavioral questions, like what are your strengths, what are your weaknesses, why, a very important question, why Barclays, why do you want to work at Barclays? And also they ask me, what is it that you bring to the table that makes you different from other candidates? I strongly believe that more than technical specifics or coding questions, I strongly believe that one of the key reasons I was able to make it to a written offer was the way I was communicating with the recruiters, how I was selling myself on this business. Yeah. How I was selling myself when it comes to behavioral questions. That's really important, and that's a great skill to have. So equally important as the technical aspect, to be honest.
Okay. So, like in some of the previous answers, you mentioned also about the resume and everything. So, the project, not the resume. So, I want to come to the resume through the project only. So, can you just tell the importance of, or what according to you is the importance of a project in a resume, and also, while in the interview process, the resume and the project, what is your take on how to prepare a resume, and what should be included, what should not be included, and what should what should be kept in mind when you are selecting a topic for your project, and so that it can help you in the interview process or in future?
Yeah, I can give you some tips regarding that. I remember when I was building my resume, I used the tips and advice from the author of Cracking the Coding Interview. There's a really amazing book. If you haven't read it, 100% recommended, Cracking the Coding Interview. She tells you how to, she gives you some tips on how to build your resume. If you're, a new graduate, how to put your education on top, like how to divide it by sections, how to list your projects right there under education. I followed, some of the common tips and advice for resume building. When it comes to projects, somebody said to me this, I don't remember who, but I always kept it in mind, especially if you're taking university.
I can't hear you, George, I guess.
Can you hear me?
Now I can hear you. I can hear you now.
Yes, I think something happened to the mic. Can you hear me now?
Internet. Yeah, I can hear you perfectly now.
Great. So yes, I want to share some tips when it comes to a project. I think it was a professor back then in Rutgers University said, if you want to prepare for technical jobs, you have to showcase your projects and make sure through every course you take in university, make sure you take the biggest projects, the biggest challenges. Why? Because you want to make sure when you leave the course that you have really a really strong project to show for your interviews, for your job applications. So I followed this advice in every course I take. I took data structures or software engineering. I make sure I chose the most challenging project, the biggest project, something that I could work the most on, so I can have the most to show on for resume for the interview process. Because when it comes to application and talking to
Right.
recruiters on site, they actually ask you a lot about projects and can you describe what you did? Can you
Correct.
describe some challenges you faced by doing this project? And what would you do better if you have to do it again? And they go deep into projects. So make sure you can show at least a couple of them that you've done through college, university. That's a really good, important thing.
Okay, perfect. So now, as our most of the audience is Indian, so from that perspective, we want to ask a question like, are there any additional steps or preparation if you live outside US to join Barclays US?
Yeah, I have great tips for that actually. So to continue what I was saying on the interview preparation topic, so that's the beauty of it. The beauty of what we do is that you can actually, it doesn't matter what country you are, where you're coming from, you can always practice,
Right.
learn, and start your preparation from wherever you are at any time. And exactly, this platforms like Geeks, for example, they help you with everything you need. Doesn't matter where you are, where you're coming from. That's the beauty of it. So from my personal perspective, however, and as an international student back then, I feel like if you want to come to work at the US, for example, to live, work in the US, I found it really helpful to continue my education in a graduate program in the US or in whatever country you're going to. You see, when you go to a different country, you don't know anybody and nobody knows you. You have no connections. Your degree won't matter. In fact, recruiters, won't even recognize the institution you
Right.
graduated from, right? So I found like the best way to, I found like getting a degree from a university here kind of helps you put the foot on the door
Okay.
at the door, brings you like one step closer and bridges that gap from where you're coming from and where you are at the moment. So, and more than just a degree, by getting a degree here, it's a
Okay.
way to expand your network and get these necessary connections to actually make it once you graduate. For example, I landed this job at Barclays thanks to a career fair hosted by Rutgers. So more than a degree, it was a way to get contacts, to expand my network and get the foot at the door. So if you want to come work at the US, in the US or in another country, and you have the ability to continue your education, being a master's, a PhD, you have that possibility to do it in that country, by all means, I recommend it 100%. Hello?
Okay. I can. Am I audible?
Hello? Yes, you are.
You froze. Am
Hello,
I
can you hear me?
audible?
Yes, hello.
Okay. Okay, then fine. I'm sorry. So, okay. So, actually, I missed because of this connection. I missed the last segment when you were telling.
Oh, what was the last thing you heard?
So we were talking about the universities getting that which brings you closer, one step closer. Completing your graduation from university from there and everything. And after that, the voice started breaking.
Yes, all I was saying is that if you want to come work in the US or go work and live in any other country for that fact, and you really have the ability to, to continue your education being through a master's degree or a PhD, definitely by all means do it. 100% recommended. It was a really great way for me to first get a degree recognized by people here, for example, and second, get to expand my networks, and that opens myself up to more opportunities. And I was saying, that this job at Barclays, I landed it thanks to the career fair hosted at Rutgers. So
Right.
if you have the ability to to continue your education in that country or in the US, then by all means do it. That's what I was saying.
Okay, cool, perfect. Now, we would like to know about your, normal day at Barclays. So, how does it go? So is it hectic or is it chill? Or I'll say that it's not always chill. I know that, but yeah. So, what is your normal schedule working as a software engineer at Barclays, US? So, we would like to know that.
Well, it's a pretty great combination of work and life, especially when you're working remote 100%. You can multitask. I cook, clean, and take a WebEx meeting at the same time. My day, okay, let's talk about my day. My day starts actually at 9 a.m. I start with a daily session with my team, video session, WebEx. Exactly when we start 9 a.m., I have a video session that way just to discuss the issues we were having during the last day, and to kind of plan out what the day was going to be like. Like, okay, we're going to work today on this, this, and this. Kind of like to give some roadmap for the day and to discuss issues so far. That's about half hour to an hour. So 10:30 a.m., I start, checking out my
Okay.
email, my inbox. I usually have about 200, 300 daily emails that, containing
Okay.
incidents, tickets, issues, some people looking for help, some people looking to review something. So it takes me like half hour to an hour to review all these emails, see if there's something relevant to me or I need to step in and help somebody with something. That's another hour just to check. So by then it's already usually 11, 11:30. And I try to squeeze in at least some, coding session or some small task before taking my lunch break. Of course, I do my
Okay.
lunch break usually at home. I cook something quickly, 1 hour, and I come back to my desk. My desk is next to my kitchen, which is next to my bedroom. So,
Okay.
so that's my lunch break. After my lunch break around 1 p.m., 1:30, then I work on incident management. I spend usually 1 to 2 hours working on incident management, ticket resolutions, and that's already about 2, 3 p.m. So as you can see, actually, I spend coding itself. I spend actually, maybe if it's too much, maybe at 20% of my day. Another 20% of my day is just reviewing. I would say about
Network issue
40%.
again.
Hello?
Yeah, you're
Hello?
again. Yeah. Okay, that's fine. Now, yeah.
Yeah, so I was saying that I
Oh,
spend
I lost
at
you again.
most. I'm so sorry.
I lost you at twin personality.
Hello?
Wait, I'll just check. What? Am I audible now?
Yes.
Yeah, but
Hello, hello.
I guess your screen is freezing again and again. I can hear you, but I can't see you. Problem is this.
Can you hear me at least?
Wait, let me.
Hello?
Yeah, perfect.
Great. Can you hear me now?
Abhi, right, it's fine. Yeah, I can hear you.
Excellent. So yeah, I was saying, about at most, if I spend 20% of my day coding, I spend about 40% of my day in WebEx meeting, video sessions, meeting with everybody. Another 20, 30%, working on incident management, incident resolution, and maybe 10% of my day checking my emails. So that's a pretty
Okay.
like an overview of my day.
So basically, you spend how much hours working? What are your working hours? If I
Yeah,
talk
so
about your average working.
so I work usually. It's a pretty standard, hours. I work 9 to 6, 9 a.m. to 6 p.m. And as I said, it's
Okay.
100% remote for now, at least. Barclays hasn't taken a stand when it comes to going back to office or taking a hybrid approach. For now, we're doing 100% remote. I'm doing 9 a.m. to 6 p.m.
Okay. Cool. So, perfect. It was great knowing your, day at Barclays. Now, we want to. Our audience would like to know about the some of the recruiters' perspectives. So, what, according to you, you think that recruiters are actually looking for in their candidate, in a particular candidate, or what they're looking for, in a person that they want to hire.
Yeah, so recruiters from big companies, specifically in the finance industry, they're looking for someone, it's more than just playing around with a bit of coding. They're looking for someone who can actually have, come up with innovative solutions to complex problems, especially in the finance industry. They're looking for someone, with great critical thinking skills. You'll be one thing, yes, in working in the finance industry, you'll be growing your technical skills daily a lot. We use a lot of um, things like SQL, for example. That's important for banks, especially. We use a lot of SQL as scripting languages like Python. You'll be growing your technical skills on a daily basis. But more than that, they're looking for someone who's actually have great communication skills, who can talk back and forth with business areas, and can bring to the table, these simple solutions to one of the common problems we faced in day to day in the finance industry. Doesn't matter, it won't matter to them whatever you're coming from. One of the things here I love here about Barclays is that you can see, inclusion and diversity. You can see it across all the different teams. As I said, my team consists of actually my team. We are 5 right now. 2 of them are from India. One of them, and when I say are from India, I say they are
Okay.
and they work in India. It's me here in New Jersey. Another team member works in Delaware,
Okay.
here in the US as well. So it's super diverse, super inclusive. So recruiters, all they're looking for is someone, capable
Okay.
of critical thinking and bringing all this to the table. If you think, one of these people, you'll definitely be a great fit at Barclays.
Perfect. Great. So I guess my major questions are over here, and this is the time when we take up the questions from our audience. I would request request the audience to just drop in their queries and questions in the comment section so that we can take up the questions one by one. We'll try to take as many questions as possible. We are also running short of time, so we'll take a limited questions only. So I'll just request to everybody, just start putting your queries in the comment section. We'll take up the questions. George will help you in your queries and finding solutions to your questions. So yeah, let's begin. And I have one more question left, George. I'll be asking you that question at the end of this webinar, or when everything will be over. Cool.
Absolutely.
Okay, so let's start checking the comment section, and I'll just pick up questions one by one. Okay, so Neetu is asking that which programming language is necessary to learn according to you that one should go for.
Hi, how are you? No, it doesn't matter. You don't have to learn a specific programming language. As long as you know one, you're familiar with one, that's good enough. From my personal experience, here we work. It doesn't matter if here we work with Python, we work with Java, we work with C++, we work with database languages like SQL. Like, it doesn't matter what language you choose, as long as you are familiar with one object-oriented language, I would say.
Cool. Let's go ahead to the next question. It's from Navdeep. He's asking that how can we apply? So he's asking for the mediums, like how can he apply to Barclays US?
Yeah, so personally, I applied through the booth at the career fair at my university here in the US. That's a great way. But if you don't have the ability to assist the career fair, or the company, it's not in the career fair, what I did and what I would recommend is either sometimes cold emailing recruiters at email and LinkedIn works. I have done it before. So I can think of 3 ways to apply, actually. So one would be through recruiters on LinkedIn, whether you know them or not. You can always cold email, and that's an effective way. Another way, through the career fair at your university. Or another way I have gotten interviews before is just by applying on the company website. If you see a listing on LinkedIn, for example, don't apply there. Go to the website directly. For example, in this case, Barclays, go to the website, the application website on Barclays, and apply through the website. So any of those 3 ways is that I can think of is good enough.
Okay. So next question is from George. It's George. George, you are G, whatever. Okay, you are George. George is asking question from George. It's like age is a problem. Is age a problem?
No, it's not a problem. It's not a problem because I remember, not at all. I remember in the interview on the on-site, first of all, we were all coming. We were 6 interviewing that day on site, and we were all from different universities and of different ages. I remember, for example, my age. I'm 28 years old right now. When I applied, I was 27. And people. I remember people. There were some people just graduating without a master's, for example. They were 21, 22. I remember other people being 24, or you can be like me, 26, 27. You can see the range is kind of wide. Anywhere from graduation, 22 to 30, we were there interviewing on site. So at least from my experience, anywhere from 20 to 30, we were still interviewing. So probably after 30, it should still be fine. Age is not an issue here in the US, at least.
Perfect. Cool. So Rishi is asking, next question is from Rishi. He's asking, does the work experience matter or the degree during the recruitment?
Yes, absolutely. It matters. Let me talk about work experience. They asked me about previous internships I had completed. So during my interviews, I talk about internships I did. When I graduated, I started working at Barclays. I didn't have work experience because I was a new graduate, but I did have internship experiences. I did 2 internships at research labs and an internship in a smaller company. So that gave me ground to talk about these things. It's not crucial, but definitely helps you in the interview process to be able to show something else that helps you out a lot. And when it comes to the degree, especially lately, it's becoming less important to actually have a degree, especially for software engineering, where a lot of people are self-taught. But I'm not gonna lie, having a degree really puts you above when it comes to interviewing. When they see someone with similar skills to you, but you have a degree and that person doesn't, that already puts you above. So if you have the possibility to get a degree, that's going to help you get way above other people already. And if you have a graduate degree, which in my case I had a master's, that helps you even more in the ladder, and also helps you when it comes to salary and negotiation. Puts you in a higher
Right.
step, even when it comes to salary. Yes. So
Okay.
it's not
Cool.
crucial, but they do affect and they do matter.
Great. Great. So next question is from Omkar. He's asking that how do you approach a complex coding problem?
To be completely honest, I approach a complex coding problem with a simple mind, so like a simple solution. The first thing that comes to mind usually is very simple. You would think, wow, it's so simple. Probably other people are going to think I'm dumb or something. No. Usually, complex problems have simple solutions. So I always start from a very simple perspective. For example, I put the problem in my mind. How would I solve it? Forget about coding. Coding is just a way to get your thoughts in the computer. Forget about coding. When you take the problem itself, how do you solve it in your mind? What would you do to manually solve it? When you have a kind of like a detailed step by step in your mind, like, oh, okay, actually my mind goes through this and this and this. Okay, you find a way to replicate the steps in your mind through coding. That's the simple first solution I always have. At least it's better than having nothing. You start with there, simple. Once you have something solid, simple enough, you look for ways to make it better, to optimize it, to get to a more solid and more efficient solution. So I always approach a complex coding problem with the simplest of ideas, and I make it up there. I work it out from there.
Cool. Next question. I guess this question will be the last question that we'll be taking up because, as I've mentioned earlier, we are running short of time. So this question is from Tai Vo. Thanks, Josh. Please, what's your advice for an IT professional currently working with Python for web development? I intend to delve into cloud computing and cybersecurity.
Yeah, absolutely. So if you're working with Python and web development, and you would like to make it in technical jobs, I would definitely recommend make sure you're super familiar with data structures and algorithms. That's a must. You can use many platforms. For me, Geeks4Geeks is godsend. It has everything you need from coding challenges to computer science fundamentals. So I'm not sure how long in your path you are with Python and web development, but make sure you have brushed up on all these computer science fundamentals and coding challenges. When it comes to cloud computing, I see you're interested in that, and this is something I have in my pipeline as well. I really recommend you start taking some certifications. For example, AWS certifications that really helps you show strong interest and passion in what you're doing. If you can come to a recruiter saying, "Hey, I have a couple certifications in AWS. I have worked with containers," this sort of thing. Recruiters mostly like passion. So it doesn't matter if you don't know it all. What software engineers, we don't know it all. Mostly people with 20 years of experience or 5 years of experience or 1 year of experience will look up everything all the time. So you don't have to know it all. You just have to show the passion for it. So make sure you have this, fundamentals, brush up on all of this, and look for ways to show up your skills. Like if you're interested in cloud computing, make sure to find some ways to show that you have passion for this. And a good way would be, for example, AWS certifications.
Okay. 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 Wait. I guess there are many questions that people really want to ask. I'll pick 2, 3 more questions because everybody's like that. Okay, no, we want.
Absolutely, I'm
Wait.
happy
So I'll
to answer.
yeah. I'll pick up some 2, 3 more questions. So Neetu is asking again, like one question more, which has more scope: Android development or web development, or any other field? What do you think?
From my personal perspective, I would say if you're looking to get yourself in one of these jobs, and there are so many branches or paths you can take. But if you have to go with one and focus on one, I would say web development has more scope and it's wider than Android development. Why? Because you can show up front-end skills. You can show that you have the ability to learn quickly multiple languages like CSS, HTML, and JavaScript. And it's just more widely used. For example, in Barclays, it's more widely used to have front-end capabilities than just Android development. So with Android, you go more deep. You focus on one thing in particular, and you go through it. Web development is more wide, more general, and I would say depending on whatever you want to go with, keep this in mind.
Okay, cool. This is one question more I was going through. Okay, Rishi. This question is from Rishi Sharma. He's asking, do they only hire BTech graduates or engineers or some other fields as well?
No, of course, it depends on the position you're applying to. If you're applying for a software engineering position, developer, or even just a technology, some role in technology, they do require for you to have at least Barclays, they do require to have a degree in computer science, computer engineering, electrical and computer engineering, any related degree, like any degree related to the same area. If you're applying to other positions, of course, requirements change. So it all depends on what you're applying for and the company. For example, I know other companies like Google or Facebook, they don't even require a degree anymore. As long as you can show your skills and you're passionate enough and you can prove yourself. Some other companies don't even require a degree anymore. You can come from a totally different background, like, I don't know, biology, or many people come from a purely math background, for example, and they switched to software engineering, and self-taught developers, and it works great for them. So depending on the position you're applying to and the company you're applying at, those requirement changes a bit.
Perfect. So that's it. We are going to wind up our Q&A session here only. And so I would like to thank our audience for being so active in the comment section, and I hope that George has helped you in getting the answers to your problems, in finding out solutions, and giving you perfect strategies and tips for your interviews, preparing for your interviews and applying for some company outside India, or specifically Barclays US, if we talk about. So now, as I've mentioned, George, that there is this one question that I want to ask you, and that will be asking the last. So this is the time that I will ask you. Like, it's about we know that there are times when people feel low when they are applying for jobs or learning things and everything. So, how do you keep yourself motivated? And what is your motivation mantra? And what is your advice to our viewers? That how should they, cope with this thing?
That's a great question, and I'm gonna answer you the same way I answer to my friends or my family. I don't keep myself motivated. Because why? Because I know it's a bit of a strange answer, but I don't rely on motivation. I don't rely on motivation to accomplish things, because motivation fails sometimes. You can't always be 100% motivated every day. Motivation is something that fails. It's something unreliable. Some days you feel high, some days you feel low. So my advice, if you want to take something from here, is don't rely on motivation to go in your preparation journey. What you should rely on is on discipline. How do you keep yourself disciplined is a better question. Don't rely on motivation, rely on discipline. That way, if you develop the good habits necessary for this, you develop a good, disciplined approach. You wake up, you start your day, you do the same things, your preparation. Doesn't matter if you're low or high that day, you still, you're gonna get the thing you need to do done. So having said this, it's always good to have motivation, but just for one reason: to have a perspective of the goal. So always keep the goal in mind, because it just gives you a path, a direction. Okay, I want to get to that point. That's my goal. So am I going in the right path? perfect. Just use motivation for, to visualize the path, to visualize the goal. But when it comes to the day-to-day things that you have to do, don't rely on it. Rely on discipline better.
Cool. So that was some other with a very different perspective of getting motivated, I will say. But yes, they will this is some different perspective, I would say. So thank you so much, George. As I've said that this will be my last question. So that was my last question from you, and I would like to really thank you for conducting this session for us. And we are glad that we connected with you and we decided to do this webinar and discuss the topics and everything. And then yes, because I know that we've decided a 45 minutes of time for this particular session, and we are at 56 minutes. So yeah, the conversation was very indulging and also very much insightful. So I'm hoping that our viewers also love this session. I'm pretty sure, because there are some many doubts because people want to work outside, and there are many doubts that uh, sometimes the situation is very simple, like it's very similar also, but the doubts pile up and they create confusion. I guess that those doubts and confusion must have been cleared from this session. So thanks again from my side, from our viewer side, and from the entire team of Geeks for Geeks. Thanks a lot.
I'm just happy to be able to give back a little bit of Geeks for Geeks have given me when I needed it the most. So anything I can do to help out this amazing community, I'm just happy to do it, and gladly will do it again. Thank you so much for your time and for the interview as well.
Thank you so much, George. We'll surely connect with you for some another session in future. So yeah, we'll stay connected. Geeks for Geeks will be
Absolutely.
connected with you for sure. Okay,
Thank you
bye
so
bye.
much.
Take care and all the best.
You
Thank
too,
you.
guys. Thank
Bye.
you. Thank you, guys.
So guys, that was it. That was our today's session, and I really hope that you enjoyed this session and are jotted down all the knowledgeable and insightful points. And the first point is that you must have got those points right. So yeah, one announcement for this webinar, like that we have a monthly newsletter that is called Geeks Digest, and its latest edition is out. So you should download that because it is pretty crazy this time. And yeah, don't forget to download it and just check out our latest edition of GD. And yeah, keep learning, and also stay tuned with us, and don't forget to subscribe our channel. And we'll be coming up with more and more better webinars. I'll try to host more webinars. And yeah, so keep learning and enjoy your weekend. I hope that this session has worked as a cherry on the cake. So yeah, that's it. So take care, all the best, and be safe. Bye bye. Good night.